In this video, I'll be answering the question, tell me about a time you made a decision based on your instincts. So in this example, I'll be talking about the real example of the company that I co-founded, Exponent. When we first started the company, we were doing mostly coaching. We were helping people land their dream tech job through our online coaching services. And so this meant that a lot of our products and services were done as a service model where we didn't actually have content, we didn't actually have sort of repeated value for our customers. As we started to expand, we started to add additional services to help people with their tech interview prep. And so, we moved from a model where we were mostly coaching people with coaches and clients to a model where we still had the coaching, but also had videos and written lessons and interactive experiences to help people prepare for their interviews. And so the transition there was really awesome, and we did a lot of great work, and we published a set of courses that we think really added value for people. Hopefully, as those watching today might agree. Now, the courses, however, were awesome, but we felt like the users who came to the site didn't really experience the courses fully. They didn't really know what the courses were about. And so we were sort of concerned with this decision between, okay, what do our external users see about Exponent versus what our actual purchasing users see about Exponent? And so, so this is something that I was thinking about a lot about, especially as someone who, in our team, I was responsible for most of the marketing and responsible for most of getting users into the funnel and making sure users knew about Exponent. And so we were faced with this problem. How do we tell a user what Exponent is about without actually giving them Exponent? And so we came up with a few hypotheses, a few different directions that we could take. One direction that we considered was showcasing part of the course so that users could see a sample of the course before purchasing so they could get a sense of what was inside. And we did launch with this, and it was moderately successful, definitely for people who already came to our website, but we were still sort of perplexed because we felt like the value to that user had to happen after a sign-up experience. So users already sort of had to be intentful or interested in accessing that content in order to learn more about what Exponent is. So yet again, we were faced with this problem. Okay, what do we do when we're in a situation where a user might land on our page and might not have the patience or interest in kind of navigating through a sample of our course? Is there a better way to showcase what Exponent has to our users that aren't actually yet paying users? And so then I sort of sat down and tried to brainstorm different sets of ideas. And this is mostly in the purview of sort of growth in general. We had social media channels. We'd been trying out some stuff like that. But our social media channels also hadn't been really successful. And that was sort of adding to this complexity and this issue that we were thinking about was how do we increase the users' knowledge about Exponent before they actually visit our website and purchase? And so one thing that I did was I conducted some user research. I wanted to get a better sense based on the users of what instincts I should have about the product experience and what people are looking for. And so when I talked to the users who are using our experience, one of the things that they said that was extremely valuable to them was these mock interview videos that we did. Sort of like the one that I'm doing right now, but basically where you have an expert who's being mock interviewed to tell you more about how they would answer a specific question. And so, taking that idea and sort of thinking about that, I sort of wanted to think about ways to showcase the interview process and what was going on to users as much as possible. So sort of the principle from those user research studies that I conducted was that users want to see what the interview is like as much as possible. Interviews are anxious, they're very stressful. And so the more you can actually provide a sense of what that experience is going to look like for people, that's actually a ton of value to people. And so, that was principle number one. Principle number two that I started to realize is that people would be interested in viewing Exponent or converting or things like that if we showed value first. And so, the second principle really came from this idea that, on social media, when we looked at the posts that did most successfully were ones where we actually just explained tips or ideas or thoughts. And that was really, really helpful to get a sense from our users that, okay, where we add value actually correlates to people's engagement and people's interest in Exponent. And so after the user studies, I had these two principles. One principle being, our users want value. They want to experience value on our site and throughout our social media platforms. And then two, the highest value that we're providing to our users are these mock interview videos. And so, again, faced with that decision of how to grow the company, I decided that one thing that could be really interesting is to do live mock interviews on our Facebook channel. And this was sort of a gamble for us. It felt a little new and different, and definitely was uncomfortable because it had to put people in sort of the seat of being interviewed, which can be very vulnerable for people on these channels. Also, doing it live was a decision that we made because we thought the interactivity with the audience would be really awesome. Doing it on Facebook, where we already had maybe a few hundred people signed up on Exponent's Facebook page. And so then we tried out this experiment where we launched a live session where we mock interviewed someone on Facebook. And so this was definitely an intuitive guess. This was not something that was quite obvious from the beginning. In fact, this is around the time that we had just started doing these mock interview videos. So there were very few of them, and we weren't even sure if those would be successful. But really relying on those two principles. The most value we're seeing is these videos, and people want value. That's the most helpful thing to see when people want to learn about Exponent and potentially convert to become a member. And so we launched this video, and I connected the video. There was definitely a lot of mistakes, a lot of errors, a lot of pauses and weird things, and not understanding how to use live tools. But we actually got quite a bit of traction, and we got maybe 100 to 200 more likes on our Facebook page, which was already just at a few hundred. And on top of that, we got a ton of comments and user reactions and requests to do more of these videos. And so that was a signal here that the intuition on that was definitely promising. And so we continued to do more of these videos on Facebook and sort of worked out the tweaks, figured out a better video platform, and eventually sort of realized that the liveness of the session was definitely helpful for some users, but users actually really wanted high quality, awesome expert mock interview videos. And that's how we sort of transitioned to what we do now, which is a little bit more with experts, as opposed with, we were doing it sort of with a variety of different people, both in the course or outside of the course. But ultimately, this decision was actually very pivotal to our business because it convinced us to invest more in videos in our platform and convinced us to invest more in showcasing our value more on our external pages. So we did ramp up that program where we showed a sample of our course, and we did ramp up other programs where we try to just add value for free to people, because we also sort of came to the understanding that not everyone is at the level where they're ready to necessarily prepare for their interview as diligently as they might need to be when they're an Exponent member. But yeah, overall, it was a great learning experience, and it was nice to see that after doing some user research and studies, it really helped to validate that that was the right approach. And my intuition on that really proved to be effective in creating a whole line of our business that has now produced a really awesome YouTube channel and all this other great stuff that we have at Exponent.